Good afternoon, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. At the outset, let me congratulate all the new entrants to the portals of BIT. And I would like to congratulate those who have joined the institute and their parents for taking the right decision to choose one of the best institutions, as was mentioned by the principal and some of the other distinguished speakers before me. As you know, getting into a professional career, the right institute is one of the toughest decisions in life, and I'm sure you would have gone through a lot of testing moments, which institute to choose, which course to be taken. It would have been a challenge both for the parents and the wards, the children, the students, those who have been admitted. I am sure you will have a wonderful time during the next 4 years. I would also like to congratulate the faculty members, principal, management for having attracted good talent into the institute. You had heard a lot of exciting things from my previous speakers, what is in store exactly in the next 4 years. In fact, you will find that this is one of the most enjoyable periods, challenging periods in your career, the 4 years. And you will know the significance, importance of it on the day you graduate and log out of this institute. You shall not get these 4 years once again back. Those who you were exposed to topics like studies, classes and all that stuff, you will also have a lot of time to enjoy, have fun with different activities and different types of engaging moments. You had some exposure about the professional career, choice, what needs to be done and what are the things. You were mentioned quite a bit about entrepreneurship or solopreneurship, what you talk about. But one of the things you should keep in mind, I would say, as a teacher who has been teaching from 1969 in the Indian Institute of Science and elsewhere, first and foremost, you should try to get a degree with reasonable recognition, class, percentage, whatever you may call, because our system needs that. You need to have a certificate, you graduate and have that. It's not that you should not think about patents, entrepreneurship, startup companies and all that. You should have that in parallel. But then you should give priority to this, as was mentioned by one of the speakers. The chief guest, I think, did mention about that. You need to complete this. Certainly, you can do little bit of parallel processing as we do in life. You can think of companies, startups, what great ideas you have. That's where if you look at the NEP, the National Education Policy, which talks about all these things under its ambit. They talk about patents, they talk about startup companies, entrepreneurship. There is a tremendous amount of pressure both on the faculty and the students to enlarge their vision. Gone are the days when we started our academic careers way back. When I got into teaching profession in 1969, things were totally different. it was publish or perish. But today, it is patent, publish and prosper. Everyone thinks about patenting, entrepreneurship, companies, startup. There are pressures, even elite institutions in the country like IITs, NITs, to have startup companies in their campuses. If you look at the visiting card of a professor, probably it will have two sides. One side with affiliation as a professor in the institute, the back side may be a vice president or a CEO or a president of a company which he or she is running in the premises of the institute. So these are things which are very important. So obviously, the spin-off activity is from the portals of the academic institutions, because bright students come up with bright ideas, youngsters rub shoulders with their professors, come up with exciting ideas. So research is a component which you should not think that it is only for people who do PhD and get into teaching as a professorial cadre. That is not the end of it. In fact, if you look at every product, every software package, behind that there is an algorithm, there is a technique, there is an equation, there is something which is riding that. Someone has investigated into that. So research is an important component. Research doesn't imply that you have to do PhD, submit a thesis, work for 4 years and get into teaching profession only. Industries have some of the brightest of the PhDs. If you look at North American context, they have much better PhDs. They publish a lot more papers compared to academic institutions. They have patents which come out of research work. That is why, if you look at NEP document, they said undergraduate students should be exposed to research, they must do research. So the culture has been, it is not only teaching, teaching plus research for academic institutions. Because the bright young students should be exposed to think fresh, look at the journals, look at the publications, what is the idea behind, how to extend that. Maybe that may result in a new product, a patent or a publication. So you should also keep that in mind when you talk about academics. So during the next 4 years, I am sure your teachers, professors will drive you towards that. As was mentioned, you have some of the choicest and best brand of teachers and professors in this campus. They do exceedingly good teaching, and I am sure you will learn quite a bit about original thinking, thought process and all that stuff. What is really important when you try to go out to industry or research or R&D establishments, the first and foremost important thing is be clear in fundamentals. When someone interviews for an IT professional career, the other side sitting, what they try to investigate, get into is, first is how your fundamentals or basics are clear. Secondly, how you are able to apply those things to real life problems or a real life scenario. That is something important we should try to pick up during the next 4 years. And that's why if you look at the NEP document, they talk about interdisciplinary work. There is cutting across discipline. It is not that you have expertise in R or Python. It is not enough. How you use your programming skills, coding skills, algorithmic skills, expertise in data structure to solve a real life problem, from transportation engineering, from environmental pollution, from chemical reactor analysis. So application is something very important, real life problem solution. That's where you should try to give emphasis to that, cutting across disciplines. You should keep your eyes and ears open and talk to your fellow colleagues, peers from other disciplines. And this has been emphasized over and over again in the NEP document. If you look at some of these challenging strategic projects in this country, like from space, atomic energy, defense, they are all interdisciplinary. It has mechanical engineering, civil engineering, chemical engineering, computer science, electronics, telecommunication, everything embedded into that. So one should be able to understand the jargon, terminology of the other disciplines, see how you can come up with an algorithm or a code or a method of solution to solve the problem. It is important even for teachers and professors, because today, if you have an interdisciplinary project, the chances of its success getting funded is a lot more rather than it being only a single discipline. So when you study during the next 4 years, you should keep in mind, see how you can gel with others, pick up these things. So as I was mentioning, fundamentals, basic, application skills, these are something very important, and the problem solving skills. There was a talk and mention about getting to know different other disciplines like humanities, social science, arts, some of these. There was a mention of the name of Steve Jobs. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs once said, "It is technology married with liberal arts, married with humanities, that yields us the result that makes our hearts sing." They are able to think of great products because the engineers who work, they are also exposed to humanities, social science, and soft sciences. That is why if you see the NEP document, it says that engineers must learn some of these disciplines. Social sciences, some of the soft skills, a little bit of English language. And the way it has been prepared, one can probably take an elective like music, mathematics, and drama. And there are provisions of multiple entry, multiple exit, whatnot. And I am sure the university, the institute, when it talks about its curriculum, syllabi, will talk about that. So languages, art, history, economics, ethics, philosophy, psychological, human development, and some of these courses can teach critical, philosophical, and ethics-based skills that will be instrumental in the development and management of AI solutions. That's what Microsoft President Brad Smith told once. The reason that Apple is able to create products like the iPad is because we have always tried to be at the intersection of technology and liberal arts. That's what even Steve Jobs said. Of software, a design of algorithms, techniques, that is what is being emphasized over and over again in the present day context. And I am sure the curriculum here will put you through that excellent drill of interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary syllabi. Even Albert Einstein once said, all religions, arts, and sciences are branched from the same tree. It is true of knowledge as well. So when you talk about knowledge as a totality, as a discipline, there are different branches. There is some interaction among them. So you should keep that in mind. So when you are in the portals of the institute, one of the important things is certainly you go through the drill of examinations, tests, marks, percentage, grade, ranks, everything. There is a responsibility on the part of the parents as well to interact with the children and with the proctors or the teachers or the professors to see how things move. Oftentimes what happens when problems come to a boiling point, very serious, we wake up and see that there is a problem of performance, problem of attendance and whatnot. So wake up before the problem becomes very serious. So frequent interaction with teachers, proctors is always useful, because there are always certain problems with some courses, examinations, grades, and all that stuff. One should keep these things in mind. And certainly topics like honesty, ethics, these are important, right? Not only in the college or the institute, even in the profession when you take up. And when it comes to career, there has already been suggestion to you. Yeah. Yes. There were many suggestions like IT industry, IT jobs and all that. So instead of getting focused on that, I think one should also look at some of the teaching research-oriented options. The second, jobs in government strategic sectors. They also take up challenging work. And I always mention in forums like this, competitive examinations like engineering services, administrative services, different options. So rather than getting focused into one specific option, I think you should look at multifarious options and see they can be useful. One can pick up some of these things. Certainly IT profession is quite challenging even at present. You talk about machine learning, AI, IoT, big data, data analysis, data science, all that stuff. But then one has to keep one's interest in mind. You need not be forced into this if you are not interested. There are other types of career jobs which you can interact with your teachers and your peers and find out what is really interesting. So essentially, what you will find during these 4 years of your stay here is fair amount of drill or exposure to this routine method of tests, examinations and all that what the university or the system expect you to go through. And you need to be little bit diligent, hardworking, which I am sure your professors will push you towards that. And you can keep other things in mind, as I told you, that whether you have this interests of startups, entrepreneurship and all that thing. As was mentioned by Dr. Kalam, with whom I had the honor and privilege of working extensively, he had said, you should keep 6 things in mind. You have to be happy in life. That is, mind your own business, focus on good things in life, complain less and less argument, and surround yourself with positive and inspiring people and smile more. That is something important. And as was mentioned by Einstein also, he said, it is not that I am talented, I am curious. That's how I am able to do great things. So that is something you should inculcate during your stay here. I am sure you will enjoy and have a wonderful time in the campus during the next 4 years, and you will, I am sure you will prosper. Wish you all the best for your future career and growth.